You're listening to The Mean Geek, comics podcasting on the very ragged, raw, leading edge of friggin' civility.
So, off we go. Fourth episode of The Mean Geek, comics podcasting on the edge of civility. I'm your almost host, Tech Jedi. With me as always is the Reverend Mad Duck.
Bless you, fuckers, for I am the Lord.
There we go.
I tried that out. It didn't really work. I have to stick with the original.
It's just fine. You're a Lord.
Gaylord. Who could have seen that coming? Why the speed of your wit, sir, is like... Actually, I can't think of anything as slow. What's that mouse with the handgun? Slowpoke Rodriguez.
That's what we're all about. Endlessly kicking each other in the crotch. Huge list of things to go through tonight. We'll start with some graphics that we've both read recently.
My homework doubled this week.
Yeah, well, it gets bigger next week.
Christ.
Green Arrow, Black Canary, the Wedding Album, hardcover. This is a really good... I like this cover a lot. There's a whole lot more story in here than I had anticipated for the size. Now, anything hack you off about this thing? You really dig it? Or?
I enjoyed it. I've always, as you know, been a big Green Arrow fan, so it was nice to read a interesting Green Arrow story. I like Winnick's light touch. I thought it was too cute in certain points, but not enough of a problem for me to actually give it a veto. Black Canary has become... There's the first Love it. Black Canary has become quite the player in the DC universe.
Yeah, so. She's getting huge now. She's leading the JLA.
Is she?
Yeah.
Madness.
And she actually decided she was going to go to town on the Big Three because they had their secret little extra-dimensional fucking meeting area that nobody else knew about in the headquarters.
Is this in Trinity, or...?
No, this isn't JLA. We're weaning you onto it a little bit at a time, you know.
Well, it's because if we're in Trinity, I didn't understand it anyway, so it could have happened.
Yeah, we're not bringing up Trinity anymore, because I'm so close to... I can't... So, yeah. Cliff Chang. What do you think of Cliff?
I think Cliff was an excellent artist. It was a nice style. It fit well. It was playful, but still good art. Because the original part was done by Amanda Connor, I want to say.
Correct.
And she's very cartoony. A strong artist, but...
very expressive in the faces.
Yeah, I don't think I'd read a book by her every week without that getting old, though. I really like the book. The nice thing about that, too, is it made me want to read further, so...
Well, we'll have to pick up a few for you. But the funniest thing, I mean, what made the whole first book for me was Zatanna telling the male stripper to take it off.
Of course it did.
Ikati fo imam!
I believe the highlight for me was when Green Arrow yelled at Speedy, "Hey Rube!" Oh, Red Arrow, sorry. "Hey Rube!" Proving that he is basically from the 1940s. No, it was legitimately well done. The shock of her stabbing him was huge, although you kind of figured since it was a graphic and it
right.
have the death of Green Arrow on the cover, that was going to play out the way it played out. Yeah. I thought they did Deathstroke very well. All in all, I thought it was a good book, and I would recommend it.
Very good. It kind of tripped me out. Hippolyta's... what's the hell's that word?
I don't know. Duh is not a good start.
Hippolyta's complicity in the whole plot.
It turned out not to be her, but Granny Goodness.
Yeah, that threw me off too. I was like, okay, what's next?
Because nothing makes me happier than seeing the New Gods.
Yeah. I still don't know. I ought to look this up because I have no idea who this chick in the red is with the AIDS and the hooking.
Yes, you do. You read all of the... that's Mia Dearden. That is the little adopted hooker from the Kevin Smith Quiver storyline.
I haven't read that since they came out. I totally don't remember that.
And, ladies and gentlemen, that is the first time that Bill has made a point that AJ did not know about a comic book. Mark it in your calendars.
Nice to see Oracle in here.
Yeah, I like how they built the friendships up with that whole bird of prey aspect.
So it's good. We got nothing to really complain about except Granny Goodness and Desaad.
Desaad.
Yeah. Fucking Desaad. Hate that guy. Greasy-haired mother... So, yeah. Brian Azzarello's Loveless. Almost as brutal and raunchy as Deadwood. You don't hear cocksucker quite as often in this book as in Deadwood, though.
Which is a major writing flaw. I really like Brian Azzarello. I'm a huge 100 Bullet fan, as you know. And I love Westerns, so Loveless was a big read for me.
It is, however, massively confusing.
It is not the clearest storyline ever.
And as much as I do like the art, it is kind of muddy in points.
Well, there's two artists in that one as well.
Yeah. The second guy,
Zajediba?
Danijel Zajay. No, that's not correct. That's the first guy. The second people Marcelo Fusain and Werther Deladera.
I like Fusain. I actually like both artists a lot. He's worked with both in the past. If memory serves, who's this artist on 100 Bullets?
Well, in the first graphic anyway, it's Eduardo Rizzo.
Okay, Fusain kind of reminds me. I don't know that I would say reminds me, but I like both styles, and he's worked with the other gentleman when he did El Diablo, which is when he started doing westerns, to my knowledge.
What a goomba.
Who?
Me. Right. Why is there 2 copies here? Did you get another one?
Yeah, remember? I mistakenly purchased something I already owned because I'm that guy.
Yeah, alright. Well, I'll just take that with me then, shall I?
You go right ahead.
This guy in the back, one of these guys, several... Where the hell is my English today?
England?
It fucking must be, because it's not here with me in the States.
That can happen.
The second pair of artists, I really thought Mignola. I'm like, there are definite points you can see where one of these guys really likes Mignola.
I think everybody really likes Mignola. You know, anybody who works in a more minimalistic, simple style is definitely going to be a Mignola fan, and you're going to see aspects of that. I do think that it worked in the Western setting, and again, I totally enjoyed that book. Not as much as 100 Bullets, but...
Which, I'm kind of glad that... well, let's move on, seeing that one's done. Top 10, the first series, book 1. Rather enjoyed it. Kind of trippy. Huh?
The cool thing for me about the whole first comic line was that Alan Moore was writing 37 books at the same time, all of which with completely different styles.
Well, that's what happens when you're on methamphetamines, so...
Yeah, I didn't have your childhood. But, I'll take your word. I think Top 10 reads very much like a police procedural in a bizarre kind of way, which was the point. There's a huge character development throughout the whole thing that makes it a fun read. I know that you hate Shock-Headed Peter more than anything.
Yeah, well, it's his Tom Corbett Space Cadet look that kills me. The buzz cut and the big, huge antennas. I mean, it's just... I see it and I just want to rip it right off and shove it right up his ass.
Probably not your best plan.
No, because he'll shock the living frig out of me, and that'll be the end of it. But it's funny how the antenna react to his mental state at the time.
No, he's a neat little character. There's so many well done, tiny characters in that book. Dwayne Bodine, the Dust Devil.
He's funny. I like
Peregrine.
him. She's the one that went nuts in the new series about her husband changing identities.
Yes.
Yeah. I like the little background touches. Power rings and things.
Oh, there's so many little clever asides. Gene Ha is an amazing artist, and Xander Cannon, The book I was trying to remember last week was The Replacement God, which he did for 8 issues.
There's some fun stuff in here. There's the new Fjord Vigilante, the car. Do yourself justice. Now, that you can totally see Ford whipping out something like that.
Yep,
do yourself justice.
The boy band sidekicks.
Way too many goddamn boy bands. They're even permeating comic books. Can't deal with it.
Actually, in book 2, that makes a bigger appearance. So
it's funny how the sergeant is and girl 1. He's colorblind, so he sees her as if she's totally naked, like she is, and he's not telling anybody, and she realizes and just punches him right out.
Which is...
She thinks he's been ogling him the whole time.
Well, he's a dog. Theoretically, he shouldn't be involved. Although, in book 2, he starts dating a woman, so we can suspect that that's probably not the case.
Now, the Shark Lawyer, I couldn't read this. Every time I saw this guy on the panel, I was reminded of fucking...
Land Shark?
And this completely irritated me. Battlefield Earth. Because... late in the book, after they've won their war against the whatever the hells, the intergalactic bankers, called the Selachi, I don't know, Selachee. I'm going to get smacked for remembering that spelling, aren't I?
Oh, fuck yes.
The intergalactic banker clan of, that book were little ambulatory sharks. So this kept popping up in my head whenever this guy was talking. I'm like, oh, get out of my head, you bastard! L. Ron Hubbard, you freaking weirdo.
Well, he's partners in a law firm with a brain and a jar, so we can assume that L. Ron Hubbard did not have a lot to do with the overall planning.
Now, Gorgrog Sr., or whatever his name is, Gorgro?
Gagra? Hell if I know.
Where is it? It's right here somewhere. Come for the boy. If you were Godzilla...
Fuck off!
Puking in the middle of the street, Top of the world, bah. He was funny.
No, it's a very clever book, and there's a lot of humor in it. The build is slow, so I am curious.
The guy airbagged, the guy that inflates whenever he gets nervous. So he's got a little breed of pufferfish in him, does he?
And the interesting thing, of course, is that nothing gets dropped. They revisit these characters.
Yeah, they're all over the place. This guy keeps track of every damn thing. He's got to have a spreadsheet.
Intricate book. And the art is amazing, which means that he's redrawing some pretty complex things.
Yeah.
Again and again.
I'm a big fan of Dust Devil's 12 shooters.
I'm sure you are.
Hey.
It's a great book, and I wholeheartedly recommend it.
Very good, then. I don't know what they did. How did they... That nasty-ass alien...
Murgala Quartz?
Yeah, how did they... I laughed my ass off when the Norse gods just keep killing each other. Where is that? They had her from this huge, 12-ton, nasty insect creature into this, scaled green chick. How did they do that?
She's a shapechanger.
Yeah, but where'd the mask go?
Again, it's a comic book, and therein lies the problem.
Well, we know where Hank Pym's mask goes.
I don't.
Don't look at me like that. Yeah, you do.
No, I don't.
You couldn't have missed that. I mean, the snapping turtle. Yeah, the Pym particles exchange his more massive particles into another dimension.
Did you really just say the Pym particles and expect not to get bitch slapped?
I didn't make this stuff up.
Oh, Lord.
Pym particles. He made it up. It's in the books.
him particles.
Look, I'm not the character that's so horribly narcissistic that he names particles after himself, okay?
But they're particles of himself, so it only seems fair.
No, they come in from another dimension, and they swap out with particles of his. That's how they shrink.
But we're done with this conversation. Next book.
Right. So, 100 bullets. More Azzarello.
Speak of the devil.
First shot, last call. Usually the first shot comes after last call, and then you go to bed.
I've definitely done the first shot well before last call.
Oh.
I love this book. Again, I think he's a great writer. It's intricate. As an opener, it's intriguing without giving, without giving anything away.
The subplots are kept sub enough where you still get the meat of each person in each story, but you still know that somehow, way in the back, Agent Graves got everything under control.
There's a lot more to this story than you find out in this first graphic, but there's just enough hint of the future to really make it intriguing. And it is.
The whole hacker thing, I don't know. I could get in. Yeah, the blonde chick with the child phone.
Yeah.
Hey, they just got drunk, got angry, and set somebody up. That's incredibly malicious, and it pretty much needs to be shot for that. And if he was smart, well, he tried to play smart. He was gonna let her.
Anybody shakes a hot ass and $1 million at you, you are not going to shoot them, and you damn well know it.
I might, but I'm not going to give him a loaded gun. I'll tell you that. I'm blackmailing somebody, I'm going to give him a loaded gun? Yeah, that's brilliant. Right? Well, at least pop the mag and clear the chamber,
Admittedly, he wasn't that bright, which is, of course, the whole point. The dialogue in the book is excellent.
Oh,
the art is very strong.
But I wonder when people are going to get tired of showing someone's killer through the hole that the killer blew through the victim.
In comic books, never.
Probably not. They've gotten really big on that in movies too. But there's what, 3 stories in here?
Yep. The first major story, the second story, and a one-shot, which is very short.
Yeah, the old lady confesses and nobody wants to believe her. I've laughed my ass off when the younger guy just starts beating the crap out of the insane crackhead.
Little Mo and Big Mo?
Yeah. Sit your fucking crackhead ass down. I've said things like that.
Yes, but not while hitting anyone.
Well, yeah, there's that. You want to start with Invincible Iron Man, Extremis, or Director of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Well, since Extremis came first and plays a part in S.H.I.E.L.D., I suppose.
Very good. I love this art. I'm a huge fan.
It was a very interesting style. Of course, Warren Ellis shows up for the first time in Iron Man and immediately makes things weird by giving him superpowers.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome home, Warren.
Ellis doesn't understand not weird. He really doesn't. I don't know what kind of,
And any of you who doubt that, go check out a book called Strange Kiss and Prepare to Vomit. Unless you like lizards and weird places.
Wait, what? Where did I miss that part? Lizards and dresses?
Strange places.
Strange places. Not going to be picking that one up. I like Tony Stark in most.
You worship Tony Stark.
I do. A massive techie with a hard drinking, hard womanizing lifestyle. I mean, if that ain't everything I ever wanted to be, I don't know what the hell is.
It's pretty much everything you ever wanted to be.
Yep, absolutely right. But they had to get rid of the Extremis later.
Do they?
Yeah, because it was damaging him. And he didn't know what to do. He totally forgot how to run his armor without it. So he had to relearn and go back a grade on the armor.
Which I think is a good thing. Tony Stark in his own way is very Batman-like in that, he's a guy in a metal suit.
Right.
It's not a superhero in the sense that, he has powers he was not born to. He created it. Or he stole the designs from several other people and created it, depending on who's writing it and when you're reading it. Either way, if you give him superpowers, you lose a big part of that.
Right. Because now it's no longer ingenuity and engineering. It's, I blast you from my fingertips. Ooh, doggies.
Which is still a comic book, but just a different comic book.
Right.
Of course, Tony Stark is so integral to the Marvel Universe right now that every other issue has a different Tony Stark.
No, they're running fairly consistent now. I mean, just after Civil War, nobody knew what was really going on. Just before Secret Invasion, things were about to fall apart. But it was nice to see the original one make a comeback. That armor.
Always fun.
This Cocoon thing, I got to reread that because I don't remember what the hell that Cocoon thing was about.
I like how Marvel has very subtly made Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor the mighty three of Marvel the way.
Yeah, that's a rather good point. But who else would you pick for that?
Well, I mean, they're not the biggest three. It's different from DC, where obviously Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman are the very pinnacles. But you have Spider-Man and Hulk, which would be larger and more popular at many points. But they've picked these three, the three core Avengers, and made them the primary focal points of all of superherodom.
I don't really mind that.
I think
it's a curious parallel. But, I didn't even think about it previously, but you're absolutely right. And thinking about it that way, I'd dig them even more.
And unlike the DC, where they get along 90% of the time and then fight for an issue and get over it.
Yeah, that doesn't happen in Marvel.
There's a lot more complexity in their relationship.
I can't. It blew me away that Tony actually killed anybody.
He's killed before.
Who did he kill before?
Man, way back in the day.
Oh, yeah, but he didn't really want to do that. Did he?
No, hopefully nobody ever wants to kill anybody.
These covers are awesome covers in the back here.
But yes, the experiments thing. But then again, that's Warren Ellis. He comes with his viewpoint, and love him or hate him, he's going to give you his viewpoint.
Right.
It's like Grant Morrison. Doesn't matter what the book's about; it's what the storyline is about. And
I can see that.
Why both of them are great writers, but it's also why not necessarily I adore everything they do.
Yeah. All right, so that's Extremis. Director of S.H.I.E.L.D. Did you really think that... I don't think he did a very good job as director of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I don't think anyone has ever done a particularly good job as a director of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Really?
Mainly since we now know that it's a substructure of Hydra. So from the get-go...
Yeah, everybody missed that everywhere.
Horribly.
For 30 fucking years, they've missed that.
All right, those of you who watch 24 on television know that Jack Bauer's little company there is overrun with spies and disinformation agents. So is S.H.I.E.L.D. Getting into S.H.I.E.L.D. apparently requires a scratch-off ticket and an application for McDonald's.
Wow. And this art is okay.
It's very detailed.
It is, but it doesn't jump the hell out. I don't know if...
Well, who are the writers on this?
This one's Knopf. Yeah, the writer was Knopf. There's... Writers Dan and Charles Knopf.
Yeah.
Penciler Roberto de la Torre.
And a big part of this to me was killing off a lot of what Warren Ellis had done. I believe this was their first run, maybe second, but they were definitely implanting their own Tony Stark.
I just think about Dead Knight of the Dreadnought. The backup stories. The reprints.
Well, you have a Kirby and Stanley introduction to S.H.I.E.L.D., which is a creative, well-drawn, totally confusing...
Still got the damn anti-shoplifting things in this fucking book, man.
Gotta love those.
But isn't it? It looks like Mark Bright.
Is it Mark or is it Dave? Who?
It's Bashima, actually.
Ah.
Michelini, Bashima, and I don't know who M. Hands is. Dread Knight of the Dreadnought.
Well, that's the classic period for your Iron Man.
Yep, sure is.
Bob Layton.
I got Bob Layton's autograph.
No, I like it. The Dreadnought thing. I did not enjoy that much. This book was kind of filler with those two thrown in. It was very short, graphic. I was curious about it, but I was not as intrigued. Because look at that Green Arrow, Black Canary, which is an equally short graphic. You immediately wanted to read the next one.
Right.
As much as I find that Marvel storylines have been more interesting to me than DC in the bigger picture, I wasn't dying to read the next Iron Man after reading this.
Yeah, I share that right there. I love how Fury, even when he's in this little medical pod, he's still got his goddamn cigar in his mouth.
Yes.
That's Fury, man. Nick is the shit. Most of the time.
There you go.
He better pull it out with this new series.
Well, for the one issue you gave me to read, there's a lot that needs to be improved on there.
All right. Having established those, first Superman-Batman trade.
This is the first?
Yep, this is the first. Jeff Loeb and Ed McGuinness.
Ed McGuinness is the best Superman artist in a long time.
I did enjoy him.
I enjoyed Stuart Immonen a lot. Obviously, as you know, my favorite Superman was the John Byrne period.
Right.
But Ed McGuinness is just born to draw Superman. Large and cartoony. You can't get any better than that. This is, of course, the end of Luthor's presidency storyline. Right. And it's fun. I actually, in the stuff I gave you was a lot of the McGuinness-drawn Superman issues, which were a great read. And the whole Luthor presidency, which was also a great read. So it's nice to see that come to a close. I like the interaction between Superman and Batman.
Their little byplay there is quite entertaining. But Metallo? It's got a steam shovel arm? What?
I loved it. Love it.
The steam shovel arm?
Metallo's a weird dude.
Weird is one thing. Steam shovel arm.
Kryptonite bullet. But it was. I really like the interaction when they're both trying to save each other's lives, and they're both thinking about how the other one is probably thinking about the other one and why. The understanding of the two characters really builds in this book, and I think that they have a good rapport as writer and artist and as Superman and Batman. So altogether, it's a fun book.
Right.
And it's a book that enjoys being a comic book.
Yes, and that's why I'm still grabbing it.
No, I did enjoy it.
Major Force. What a jerk.
And that's the kind of deep thinking commentary you'll receive here at the Mean Geek. What a joke.
I always got Captain Atom. They should have used him more before they killed him.
Yes, but Captain Atom is the most negligible. His big storyline people found about too soon, so they gave it to Hawk instead. If ever you were to be knocked onto the negligible food chain, that would be it.
Now, this rather amused me. When they're going to get the device from the 13-year-old genius, and they're trying to figure out how to distract them, they're like, send Power Girl in. She's like, what are you looking at me for? How am I supposed to distract? Oh. That was wildly amusing to me.
Of course.
But Power Girl, I think she'd be like, fuck off, I know what you're talking about, bite me. Because they made her kind of mean in a lot of stories.
Yeah, ever since JLE and Giffen and Demanis did a lot to Power Girl. But Power Girl's a lot like Captain Atom. It's a very negligible character that has never really found a niche audience or a reason to exist.
Well, they're thinking of giving her own series. again.
Lord have mercy.
Well, you get the right person on it. Miss Marvel's got 3 years under her belt now. Who would have thought that? I wouldn't have thought that. Man.
That is actually the third sign of the apocalypse.
Oh, what is her fourth year? The fourth sign?
No, when Speedball gets his own series, that's the fourth.
Again. They're gonna, the volcanoes are gonna start erupting menstrual blood when Speedball gets his own book again.
Cats and dogs living together.
Mass hysteria. Now, I finally figured out the noir line just tonight. It's Marvel's Elseworlds.
Well, it's also in a noir style. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's set long ago under different circumstances. It wasn't radioactive. What was it? A radioactive spider?
No, it was just some sort of voodoo.
Yes. See, Marvel Elseworlds.
Well, here's my thing. Do you remember the first time you read Gotham for Gaslight?
Sure.
Great read.
Yeah.
And it came out of nowhere. You're like, wow, Batman versus Jack the Ripper. This is an incredibly dumb concept, but it really works. And you were excited because it was something different. And then Elseworlds became a haven for the sort of bad experimentation and pointlessness.
Yes. But then occasionally they pulled it back real quick with Red Sun, the Superman growing up in Russia routine.
I've never read that one. That
thing was awesome.
Well, sure, there's going to be great stories told, but there were also a lot of horrible, like the Stan Lee reimagination.
Stop that right now. I'm not talking about just imagine Stan Lee's fucking Batman and Wonder Woman. Goddamn Aztec warrior princess twit.
Batman the Professional Wrestler was a brilliant concept.
You are on crack. Oh my God, I've never ever wanted to slap Stan Lee until I read. I was even ready to give Stripperella a go when I read that, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck Stan Lee.
Alright, do not say fanboys will come to my house and break shit because you're here saying shit like that.
They don't know where the hell it is.
They can sense.
Dude, most of the younger fanboys don't even. They're like, oh yeah, that old guy in all the Marvel
I'm not scared of the younger fanboys. The rabid fanboys are the ones that worry me, and those are the people that will wholeheartedly defend Stan Lee. So you are wrong in that assessment.
Well, I get that it's Stan Lee. I don't mind Stan Lee. What he did to my Batman was to be expunged from history.
Yeah, but no one has 100% track record. That's the thing. And
he did it to Wonder Woman, too.
Those were one shots. Stan Lee's overall track record is a hell lot better than most people out there. But getting back to the noir thing, Spider-Man Noir was all right. It was vaguely interesting. It was just a reimagining. They're the same characters you always see. Most of them were behaving the same, except for May Parker, the union agitator.
Yeah, that one was kind of irritating.
And J. Jonah Jameson, the covert assassin, who turned out to be the chameleon. Ben Urich, the cocaine fiend.
Yeah. Is he just gonna blow guys in alleys after a while, or what? What's going on there?
But the highlight, of course, was the circus geek turned cannibal, the Vulture.
That's right. That killed me.
It killed a couple of people.
I'll finish it off, but I'm not. There's X-Men Noir, and there's going to be Daredevil Noir.
Yeah.
I'm not bloody likely to get any more of those.
Some of them will be good. That's the whole nature of the Elseworlds, is you're going to see certain things done really well, and others that are not.
Well,
Spider-Man Noir was a perfectly acceptable, but not particularly.
Yeah, it wasn't mind-blowing in any fashion.
No, you're not ashamed to have it in your collection, but you're not like, I need to be it. Spider-Man Noir must be a series. Hells no.
I've got to get it signed by everybody. Switching gears. Dynamite's Lone Ranger 2, 4, 6, 10, and 11.
Well, choppy is the first word.
Yeah, well, that's what was in the back issue box. There wasn't anything I could do about that. For 20% off cover, what was I going to do?
Lone Ranger is a hard concept to carry right now because obviously he shoots people in the hand.
Yeah. With silver bullets that would tumble in flight.
And he's got an Indian sidekick who they keep trying to make not a racial stereotype. That's the number one goal of anything that involves Lone Ranger and Tonto, is to make sure that Tonto is awesome.
Not to make him a stereotype.
Tonto cannot be in any way derogatory or disappointing, or I will get scalped.
Well, my ex-brother-in-law would end up, burning Dynamite Publishing to the ground.
There you go.
Because he's just, I hate that kid. I fucking hate that guy. I'm Silver Cloud. You're a doofus. Get off your ass, go to work.
Do you remember what my theory for your Indian name was?
You had like 12 of them, dude.
Walks with Comics.
I don't remember that one.
Never seen a woman.
I remember Sex with Midgets. I don't.
I know you do.
But I mean, these are incredibly quick reads. There's not a whole lot to them.
No, it's not terrible. I love westerns, and it's well done. The build-up, they've made the Lone Ranger storyline interesting. They have done their level-headed best not to make Tonto a stereotype.
I think they got really close on 11 though, with his little parable of I might be a wolf. In fact,
yeah, well. You gotta remember, since Dances with Wolves, there's an overlying cultural factor that all Indians are deep and wise.
Yeah, okay. That's what. Never mind. Can't get into it. The one fucking person listening to this thing is going to be a huge fan of Native Americans and come and kill us like that Stan Lee kid.
There you go.
Sergeant Rock, Lost Battalion, 1, 2, 3.
Billy Tucci, here's something that I bet you don't know. Billy Tucci has been reading Bill Malden and stealing lines.
Really? There's lifts from Malden in here?
Bill Malden, for those of you who don't know, Bill Malden is the most famous World War II cartoonist and creator of American heroes Willie and Joe, which are two grunt characters. And lines like, I love officers. They make me want to live to be a civilian. Or, I can't get any lower, my buttons are in the way. Are all directly cribbed from Bill Malden.
Wow. Hopefully he was not thinking in the back of his head that he could get away with it.
No, I'm
hoping he would have somebody like you recognize that.
I think it's entirely an homage, and I think it means that he researched World War II in the sense that he was looking into, because Bill Malden is also an amazing cartoonist.
Right.
So I think it was entirely a research thing, and he used that as a tribute. But I was curious reading, like, how many people know that at least of the 3 issues I read there, everyone had at least one Bill Malden line in it.
You heard it here first, folks. Now, Billy Tucci, did I tell you? There's a blogger friend of mine who does. It's very strange. I don't know if he does reenactments World War II, or if he just does cheesecake calendars with women on World War II vehicles scantily dressed. But he was at, I don't know if it was a D-Day recreation or some battle reenactment,
right.
And Billy Tucci was there. And the Jeep that you see most often in these is modeled after the blogger's Jeep.
No kidding.
Yeah. Couldn't believe it. I was reading an entry of his once, and he had this cover as the cover from number 1 as his little blog icon.
Oh.
And I'm like, hey, great choice for Sergeant Rock icon. He's like, yeah, and he told me the whole story. I'm like, well, goddamn.
That's crazy.
That's pretty impressive.
The art is impressive. The story is intriguing. And, Tucci's obviously put a lot of effort into learning about World War II in it. I don't know how much he had to begin with, but...
The Pro is a disgusting story.
Not everything Garth Ennis comes out with is genius. A lot of it is filth.
Yeah, this is it right here. Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, The Pro is the first hooker superhero. Take from that what you will, and you will still be selling it short on creepiness.
Switching gears again. Garth Ennis. Back to Brooklyn.
I don't think of Back to Brooklyn as a Garth Ennis book. I think of it as a Jimmy Palmiotti book that Garth Ennis wrote.
Yeah, that fits.
Because if you look at the first issue of Hellboy, the first 4, that Byrne may have scripted, but it was all Mike Mignola.
Right.
Ennis may be writing this book and adding, little details like Jimmy Thermos or whatever the hell his name is.
Yeah.
With the thermos cock.
But he wrote the sex scene with On the Good Ship Lollipop. You know that. That was totally Ennis. That was totally him. That absolute nutball. She's wearing her rollerblades while they're in the sex. I mean, she just couldn't look more bored in that scene.
No, it was an okay read. It was.
This guy is just apparently this. What the hell is his name? Joey.
You're just guessing. Joey seems like a good guess. It's a mobster from Brooklyn.
Joey Bag of Donuts with
Tony. Joey.
Frankie.
Frankie is a good guess.
But he's how hardcore can one gangster get, man?
Yeah, again, it's a comic book. Somebody has to be the most hardcore gangster, and that's the one they're going to write the comic book about.
Yeah, his mom. How much did you want to kill his mom?
Not as much as he did.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's that. But I don't think. Then there's another Ennis trope there. The absolute lunatic psychopath that they call in to fix or check something.
With the bad hair.
With the bad hair that just loves to mutilate. That's Ennis all the way.
And then the semi-decent guy totally takes him out. It's your classic, basic storyline. It was an interesting read. I wasn't dying to get to the next one. I wasn't disappointed by it. There's a clever thing involving Coney Island and dogs and a loaded gun.
That one, yeah, I thought that one was curious. But this art, in turns, I dig certain panels, and then there's other panels I'm like, oh Christ, who approved this thing?
You know what? It reminded me a lot of the kind of thing you read in 2000 AD.
Okay, yeah.
And of course that's where
or heavy metal.
Yeah, exactly. It was that kind of style, which of course is where Ennis comes from, so it may be a guy he worked with there or somebody whose art he liked because of that kind of thing. It was decent enough. I don't feel the need to rush out and read it.
Yeah, well, the last one's out, so we don't have to wait, and we don't have to think about it. We'll just get it to have a burp, get it to have a complete, and call it even.
There you go.
Now, I know this is a personal favorite of yours. Back to World War II. The Haunted Tank. 1, 2, and oh look, 3.
What a series. The Haunted Tank tries really hard to be edgy.
And it almost gets there, and I couldn't really tell if I was reading Ennis or if I was reading whoever the hell Frank Marafino is. Because there's a lot of things coming out of them characters' mouth that I would easily believe were written by Ennis.
Ennis would have been smoother, though.
Yeah, I can see that. I can agree with that.
But the whole racial overtones of the Southern Colonel and the Black Tank Commander...
That's going to wear thin by issue 6.
Is it a series? I thought it was a miniseries.
Oh, 5. By issue 5. So, yeah, there were some funny moments when he was pitching at him, but I just really didn't think they would ever bring back the Haunted Tank.
It was a one-joke pony.
It absolutely was, and they destroyed it in Crisis, which, this was 25... Holy fucking Christ, 25 years ago.
Yeah, but don't forget, Haunted Tank also made an appearance. Ennis brought the Haunted Tank back for the Demon when he was writing that before Hitman.
Yeah, well, I never did get those. That was over and done in a period when I wasn't buying. Christ, it's like video games these days. It's all World War II.
Yeah.
Storming Paradise, Chuck Dixon and Jackson Geiss, who I used to think was Geiss. I'm telling you, we need pronunciation guides.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do. We totally do.
No.
To me, that looks like Geiss.
Here's why we don't. Because I don't care if I'm pronouncing Jackson Goose correctly or incorrectly. So I don't need a guide. Just don't. If I'm at a show and he hears me go, oh, Jackson Goose is over here, he's like, actually, it's Geiss. I'll be like, oh, I did not know that, Mr. Goose. Guess you won't be signing anything for me. Y'all have a good day. And I'll leave.
And that's modern civility for us.
There you go. But I do not need a guide to teach me how to pronounce the names of people that I have limited interest in.
It took me 2 issues to figure out that this was an alternate history.
Well, the first issue when the bomb went off and killed off all the bomb scientists and was a nightmare and didn't clue you in?
Not yet, no, because I wasn't paying that much attention to it.
I was not overly impressed with Storming Paradise. I didn't hate it, but I felt no need for it. My favorite part, honestly, was the "Hey Tojo" on the first cover. Because it's a classic image.
It absolutely is.
Sadly semi-racist now, but at the time, that was exactly the kind of poster you would see up.
Oh yeah, we got our own propaganda.
So I think that aspect of it was really intriguing, the cover, but I didn't feel there was any need for a reimagining of what if we had to invade Japan during World War II. And I didn't think the story offered anything that made it so captivating that I would want to keep reading.
I'm going to finish it. I am intrigued enough to finish it out, but I hope it doesn't go beyond 6. Actually, it should be finished by now if they ever feel like publishing it. But, Wildstorm's usually better about that, but who knows what Chuck Dixon is thinking these days.
And the use of John Wayne as a soldier just to get shot, I didn't understand that at all.
More gears switching. Ed Brubaker.
Yeah.
I know you're a fan.
I like Ed Brubaker.
Incognito.
I totally enjoyed that.
Yeah, I was a fan.
I have not read a lot of Criminal, which I have to get into now because I enjoyed this. And
yes, we're definitely getting Criminal. It reminds me...
Plus it had an evil twin.
Yes.
Well, 2 of them, to be fair.
I couldn't really decide if I was reading a Dark Astro City or what.
He had a very definitive character in an alternate idea. By putting a supervillain into witness protection is not something that most people have done.
Right.
And then for that supervillain to act like a hero because he's that bored, not a lot of people have done that. So I totally enjoyed. The writing is excellent. Sean Phillips, I like as an artist. I enjoyed his time on Hellblazer, particularly his second run.
Now, I don't know about these reviews on the back, though. Incognito bitch slapped my senses and left me questioning the lines of morality. A pretty fucking spectacular feat in 22 pages.
Who the hell said that?
They don't even name it. It's just, ain't it cool news? I don't know if you can really... it's not that questioning. I mean, he was a villain. They gave him drugs to not be a villain. And if he does enough heroin, the drugs stop working, so he goes back to being a fucking villain.
I just feel that if a comic book ever bitch slaps me, I'm going to burn it, and I'm not going to recommend it to other people. That's just how I roll. And yes, I said how I roll.
Yeah, well, somebody was going to say it eventually.
Alright.
Speaking of bizarro Ennis shit. This amazingly strange and actually somewhat disjointed storyline for one of these is yours, you know.
No, you had 3.
Oh yeah, damn it! I mistakenly got. I ordered this
same
from
cover too.
Yeah, I ordered this from DCBS, and I wanted to say 1, 2, and 3, and I said 3 of 1. Pain in the ass. This is not as smooth a story as other things I've read from Ennis.
Well, it's a sequel to Welcome Back, Frank, and it's very different from how he's been writing The Punisher of late. So Punisher Warzone is a throwback in that sense. And the sense of humor is a much bigger aspect of it than the sense of character, the way he's been doing The Punisher in the regular book. So,
but again, there are many things that you know are Ennis's in here.
oh yeah, it's all Ennis.
The
Melon fucking would be the
yes,
number one
the melon
example.
fucking is right there.
The hot girl gunfight in a bra and panties to her own awkwardness.
Yep, and they mixed Tulip and Cassidy for this one because she never took off her glasses. And they had the Faulknerian idiot man-child there with the melons.
No, it was an interesting read, but I've so enjoyed his later writings on Punisher that I haven't missed that period. As you know, I just bought the graphic to Welcome Back, Frank.
Yep.
And that was a great read at the time, but I think he's improved, so this was almost a step back for me.
Yeah, a little bit. But luckily it was cheap. DCBS is, I got all 3 of these for about the cover price of, one was practically free. So, right.
Well, when we have our first The Mean Geek podcast contest, we will both sign one, and that'll be our first prize.
That is a great idea, and we're doing it. And since we're 4 episodes in now, and not a single person has, generated feedback in the form of an email, the first motherfucker to write in an email ever gets one of these signed.
Not by an actual person of any import, just by us.
Just by us.
So rush right out.
Do it. Grab your keyboard. Take your hand off your dick. Tell us how much you...
Or if you can type one-handed, leave it there.
We
don't mind.
Off. Take it off and use some sanitizer. Write us an email. Alright, much later issues of the Nom. Almost finished out the second year. Got a nice little lost pilot episode, which everybody has to have in a war story. That wasn't too bad.
Again, it was exactly like the earlier issues by Van Sant. I don't like the art particularly. The writing is still good. Doug Murray was in Vietnam, so he has a fairly clear understanding.
Right. They brought in Marines, though, which I have a hard time with.
I liked how they, in 12 issues...
Lots of people are wondering why I hate Marines. It's just friendly rivalry because I was a soldier and Marines are batshit loco. Right? Continue. Go on. What were you saying?
In the first 12 to 13 issues of the Nom, you have a character come into the Nom and leave. The movement over the month period was really interesting, but you also, by these issues, most of the characters that you grew up with are gone. And I don't think they developed to the same degree, or I don't find them as interesting. And with the lack of art, it's just, there's no need for me.
Yeah, I mean, Van Sant's competent to a degree.
He's not a terrible artist. I just don't care for it enough to offset the fact that I don't care about the characters either.
Right.
It leaves me with nothing.
Again, he's got some really amazing looks to the Hueys. He's a fine draftsman, certainly, but... And they got the China Beach syndrome going on here. They always have to have a nurse somewhere. Yes. Now, this is what I like. I mean, this thing is in fab-boo condition. This thing's 22 years old, and these pages are fucking milky white, man. They're just brilliantly bright. One day, about 55 years from now, when I need to finance my,
comic habit?
when I have to finance my lung cloning, they might actually, one of those might actually do it, because it'll, I'll CGC it, and
hey, if by the time you need lungs, the Van Sant issues will still not be worth a goddamn dime. So be prepared to be out in the corner blowing dudes for nickels.
Moving right along, we only got a few left, and then we get into last year's big events, which ought to be a trip and a half, but one at a time. Captain America 48, the big build up to the big 5-0. The end of the best friend was old friends storyline, where the Human Torch was turned into a virus somehow. You're not real entirely certain how the hell they're figuring that one out, but
I still don't fully understand the storyline. I don't know why the Doctor had a problem with Bucky. I don't know how you turn a robot into a fire-causing virus and then set fire to Namor.
But it's comics, as you said yourself. I've always been a big fan of Namor. I don't get it. He's just such an amazing jerk. And yet he's a noble jerk.
I am remarkably happy with that comment. I am not a huge Namor fan because he is a noble jerk, but it fits so aptly.
Could you get more accurate?
No.
How would you phrase it?
It works for me. I want to bang Sue Storm. I team up with the Hulk despite thinking he's an idiot. I swim underwater because I'm a mutant. No, all set with Namor, but I did like the end of the show, how they buried the Human Torch, and
right,
acknowledge the history of the 50s. And it is one of the things that I always like about Cap is they think about his overall history,
right?
Except when he's Cap Wolf, but
poor Mark Grunwald.
Mark Grunwald did a lot of great things. Cap Wolf is not one of them. This was Mark Grunwald was writing it when I first started picking up. No, I gave you a huge following too.
Yeah.
No, I think that Brubaker's doing an interesting Cap. I would read more, but this particular storyline wasn't the one that was like, oh my god, have to continue.
Well, which is just fine because it's done. Dan Slott on Mighty Avengers. Issue 23. Thor and Loki show up. U.S. Agent and Hank goddamn Pym again. And Bova again. And
oh, this is the issue where Hank Pym proves that he's smarter than Hercules.
Which, was there really a competition for that?
Wow, I was enthralled. No, of all the Avengers books, this is one that holds the least appeal to me right now. The Cthulhu mythos that they're pushing for with Cthon, and the Scarlet Witch, who's a batshit crazy pain in the ass, from what I can tell.
It's insanity, isn't it?
I love the Avengers. I love what Bendis is doing with them. This is not my favorite.
Friggin' Pym, man. He still can't live down. What was I reading? I was reading just today on... we should do something like this. We're going to do something like this. I was reading...
Pay close attention. We're going to do something.
On Ubu, or Obo, I don't know what the hell it was, .com. They had the top 50 what the fuck moments in comics. And they had some pretty reasonable ones, like, Hank Pym bitch slapping Janet Van Dyne, how he couldn't live it down for like 7,000 issues.
Hank Pym can't live down the fact that he's a girly man.
Hank Pym is, in fact, a girly man. He's I've never fucking cared about anything Hank Pym has ever done, said, thought, developed.
Come on, the trial of Hank Pym when Egghead...
The trial or the court-martial?
Trial. When the evil Egghead trapped him in confessing he was a doofus. No, Hank Pym... Come on, he's been Yellow Jacket, Goliath, and Ant-Man. Three guys that don't warrant a book.
And now he's
Yellow
freaking
Ant-Jacket.
Wasp. He renamed himself Wasp.
Well, that's...
Because he's a doofus.
It's a tribute to his dead love.
That he slapped around. Because he was so incompetent. Now, what's this ad here? Exiles. Blink is back. I don't care about Blink. Remember Blink?
Yes.
Did you care about Blink?
Blink was hugely popular. In that little 4-issue period that all those X-books did, for whatever reason, the mutant known as Blink was insanely popular.
I don't get it. I don't remember jack about that period. I just remember reading those things and thinking...
Well, that was when all the books got restructured for 4 issues, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I was reading Generation Next at the time, so I remember reading those. And Blink was the Uncanny one,
right?
Which I think Madriera was drawing, which is why I looked at that.
Correct.
But no, for whatever reason, there's something about the character Blink that really struck a chord, and that's what's wise to do, is to jump on the characters and strike a chord and build things around them and make them, see what happens. That's where the Punisher came from. That's how Wolverine stopped being a short Canadian pain in the ass and Hulk and became an icon. At the same time, though, that was 10 years ago. And suddenly we're jumping on the Blink bandwagon now.
Yeah.
Not so great a plan.
There were a couple of amusing things about this book. It's back to Mighty Avengers 23. When they started messing with his ability to speak, dancing fishwood, mother. That sounds like you know what that makes me think?
The old Steve Martin routine, where you teach kids wrong.
No, although
that's send them to school.
Although that is absolutely valid. Makes me think of something that Shazam would say.
Shazam!
Dancing fishwood, Ma! What? You can see that in the old Fawcett books. You can imagine that.
I'm not imagining that. I choose not to imagine that.
You totally are. It's in the back of your head right now. You're going to wake up at 4 a.m. saying, "Dancing fishwood, mother!"
If I say that, you have my permission to slap the shit out of me.
I'm not going to be here at 4 a.m.
And we both appreciate that.
Petulant table!
I would like to have a petulant table. That I'll give you.
Grassy Moon Barber! Noodle! It did amuse me.
No.
It didn't do a whole lot more through the rest of the book, but that was funny. Star Wars Legacy.
You need to stop bringing these into my house.
You are not digging on the Star Wars books.
I don't.
You what?
We killed a Sith Lord, but we're keeping him in a jar so other Sith Lords still think he's a Sith Lord?
Hey, somebody's been reading their Spanish history, man. It's El Cid.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I've not read Spanish history, apparently.
They didn't keep him alive, but they put him back in his armor, and they fused the armor so he wouldn't fall over in his horse, and they let him into battle. They led a rotting corpse into battle.
Considering some of the generals that Spanish history has had, rotting corpse is probably in the top 7.
Dersema, you weren't very happy with Dersema's art, right?
In this or in general?
In general.
I remember it back on the Hulk back in the day, and I wasn't a huge fan. I did not notice.
She was on Hulk?
A couple fillers.
Ah, okay.
If I recall. I could be wrong. What, Dersema? Oh, was it X Factor? What the hell?
I really don't remember Dersema before Legacy here.
But I do not like Legacy. I do not like Star Wars comic books.
But any artist that says they're going to be at New York Comic Con and I can't get to, I automatically hate them.
Well, you hate a lot of artists then.
Yeah, I mean, Giffen said he was going to be there
Twice.
Never saw him once.
I hope you're listening, Keith.
Keith is not going to listen to this, man.
And I don't blame you.
No, are you kidding? We don't even listen to this.
I did once.
Really?
Want to see what I sound like? It was drunk. Anyway, I did not particularly enjoy this. The art is passable. The storyline is passable. I just don't care.
But still in all, I've said it 5 years ago in my Star Wars Galaxies bio. I'm gonna say it again. Blue chicks are hot.
And we're done talking about that.
Moving right along. Justice League of America 31, where the whole team falls apart again.
Yeah.
I'm having a really hard time thinking of any JL story or, plot, thread, arc, whatever you want to call it, that's lasted any length of time without the big three.
Well, obviously, Giffen and DeMantis did it for a long time.
Yeah, but they had a comedy book.
Well, that's
and
true.
As soon as that book stopped being a comedy book,
it never stopped.
Went
it just
to
stopped being funny.
Yeah, well, there's that.
It was a comedy book up until it died. It just stopped being funny well before that.
Yeah, it stopped. I mean, it was definitely not intentionally a comedy book.
The top three. JLA's problem, of course, is that it's not a regular book. It routinely changes members, but it's changing members from characters that are already established.
Yeah.
So it doesn't flow as well. And the big three, of course. Why on earth would you have a Justice League of America without Superman?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
The only reasoning you have is he chooses not to, and the whole character of Superman is that he chooses to do things like that.
Right.
I'm too busy stopping giant toy robots in Metropolis to fight off a Earth-killing horde? That doesn't make sense.
No, it really doesn't.
So, what? But at the same time, the build-up of Black Canary, and that was excellent.
Yeah. I think she's going toe-to-toe with Hal, man. Everybody's going toe-to-toe with Hal these days, though.
Hal killed a bunch of people.
He gets ideas in his head, and everybody's like, you know what, Hal? You killed people. Fuck off.
That is the Batman argument.
Yes. Man. Is this Wally? Yeah, this is Wally. Why wouldn't Wally do it? Wally, I always thought Wally would always be there for the JLA.
Well, Wally has the most time, theoretically.
Yes, because he could get things done.
But he has kids now, somehow.
Yeah, I don't remember how that happened because I heard he was dead on a podcast the other day.
Well,
I'm like, wait, when did he die? What?
He travels through time. He may be dead later.
Yeah, that's highly likely as well. But Dinah just telling these guys, look, man, I'm in charge. You put me in charge. You said I should be in charge. You're gonna step up and do what you're supposed to do, or that's over. I'm shutting the whole goddamn thing down.
I like what Marvel is doing with Dinah. I think it's nice to have a strong female that's not an insane Roman era Amazon. So I like the whole aspect of it.
More bathroom breaks.
Yay!
Guy's got the bladder of a 3-year-old.
Who drinks
heavily? So. Yeah, I'm going to miss Zatanna. I like Zatanna running around. She cute. Trying to figure out how Dr. Light's eyes are blue, though, being Asian.
No, yeah, that's the number one weird point of that comic.
Oh, no, I'm not trying to say that that's the number one point. I'm just saying it's very prominent on the last page.
Well, they're actually not blue. That's the arc of the lightning coursing through her blood, appearing through her corneas.
Okay, moving right the fuck on. Now, here's a total change of gears, and I need $10. Don't just stare at me. we're
You need
recording.
to elaborate. Because that is not a sentence that begins... Most of my really bad stories begin that way. I need $10. Then we're going to New Haven.
Boom Studios
Yes.
has started a Muppet comic.
Fuck. How the hell did Boom Studios get the Muppet license?
I don't know, but they also got the Incredibles license.
Really?
Yeah.
There's money in that if you do it.
Yeah, there probably
There's no money
is.
in the Muppets.
Well, if they publish it on the right paper and the right frequency with the right stories, yeah, there probably will be. Because there's nuthatches like you running around.
There's not a lot of people like me running around.
But, yeah, Boom Studios. The whole point of mentioning that was Boom Studios. Caped. Superhero temporary sidekicks.
Didn't do a thing for me.
No.
It was funny in the intent that it was trying to be funny, and the idea of superheroes needing personal assistance, and that by being superheroes are not fit to be normal human beings.
I think this could get quite amusing. I think that this could be very funny once they get their voice and they really start a good arc.
Is Joel McRae doing the art for that, or just somebody who really likes Joel McRae?
Well, let's go look. Story, Josh Lobis. Art, Yer Herrera.
Not Joel McRae.
So, no. Yeah. But this could be fun. I want to try something very much like it that I haven't been able to find yet. I'm probably going to have to order it. Superhuman Resources. It's, like super teams, like the Avengers, etc. What if they had a human resources department?
Oh dear Lord.
Yep. That could be... Think of the comedy value that could be in that.
Yes, I remember Damage Control. There's a reason certain things are one-shots.
Well, Damage Control was...
Superhero Cleanup, which could be funny.
It could have been. Alright, we're bored with that one. Let's move on. Oracle, The Cure. Has a Battle for the Cowl banner above it, but I really don't see much, cowlness in there. But, Kevin Van Hook. Never read him before, as far as I know. Julian Lopez and Fernando Pasarin as the inkers, the pencilers. And what the hell is this trend with comic creators just going by one word, and it's not even like their name? Like the inker here is Bit. Not like bitte, like German fucking please, but Bit, like he bit me.
Artists are different.
And Hi-Fi, is that a company? Hi-Fi is David Bryant. Colorist, Hi-Fi. So you got to figure it's a company? Just tell us who did it. I mean, somebody did it. Dan, here's another good question. How many people, and I'm going to ask you this too, although I'm certain you'll know. How many people reading this book is going to know what a hi-fi is?
Fewer and fewer.
Yes. Now, having established that, tell us what a hi-fi is.
High fidelity.
There we go. Nah, it doesn't really come up that often anymore.
No. No, but moving back to the comic, I thought Oracle was perfectly acceptable. Again, didn't care.
Yeah, if we cared, we'd have been getting Birds of Prey.
Look, she's crippled and she's having dinner with Daddy.
Woo!
I spent $5.
And, as hard as they try, I've said this about many, many movies. I'm going to say it about this comic, too. As hard as they try, they're just not going to make computers and virtual reality all that fucking exciting.
No. Blowing the chick's head off somehow confused the crap out of me.
Yeah, I mean, she's not. It's not like she's jacked in. She's sitting in front of the computer, playing a knockoff of WoW. A knockoff of Second Life, except she's dressed like she's in WoW.
Yeah, it was.
And you just, how do you blow up somebody's head? I mean, where's the explosive?
I didn't get it at all. I do like what they've done with Barbara Gordon. I think.
No, they've made her a fabulously strong and intelligent character,
and the use of Oracle in the overall scheme of things has been excellent. But I didn't feel that was overly important.
Yeah, I might follow that arc if I pull it off the rack and flip through and something catches the eye, but that one's going to get.
If it comes here, I read it. If it doesn't come here, I probably don't read it.
It's probably going to get set in the sale database. Which I told you about that, right? It finally made a sale on that goddamn thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So yes, 40 cents. Made a whole $1 after I grifted the guy on shipping.
Please don't be listening, guy.
New Avengers 51. I had forgotten what in the hell was actually going on when I started reading this, because it felt like far more than a month between issues, which is not. I'm not really sure if that's what you want in a serialized story.
Not generally, no. That's just one of the reasons Image took so many hits back in the day.
Yeah. Sorcerer Supreme, finding another Sorcerer Supreme, finding a demon, eating Chinese in the apartment. Some of the deciding on why was it so difficult for them to decide on a leader? I mean,
leader of
the New Avengers.
Well,
they had a 6-page tete-a-tete about who was going to do it, why they should do it, and why other people shouldn't do it.
Leading the Avengers is a difficult job.
Well, yeah, I know that.
I mean, Cap's previous job was ice block, so we can only assume.
Ice block.
Not a lot of people have that on their resume.
Old Spidey there. Can they quit having him being so goddamn paranoid about his secret identity? I mean, he's with the people. I mean, I know that nobody knows anymore. That's a valid point. And he's still protecting the people he's protecting. The blah, 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 blah.
Well, he is protecting less of them now than he was.
Refreshing the beers, folks.
Not me. I'm high on life.
You a liar, sir.
No, I actually prefer Spidey in the Avengers than I do in the Spider-Man books.
Sure, he's a lot more fun there. But
and shorter appearances of whining.
Right. It's the whining. It's absolutely killing me. And, I want Peter Parker, not Luke Skywalker.
Peter Parker is Luke Skywalker.
To a degree, you can say that. I'm not going to argue it to any great length. There are absolute parallels there. But
they both whine, they both step up when they have to, and then they both whine as soon as they're done stepping up.
Why is a 16-year-old going to be Sorcerer Supreme, though?
Well, Sorcerer Supreme is the dumbest job title known to man.
Alright, and let me ask you this. These 3 panels, they're just refocusing the same piece of art? What?
You're not used to that by now?
It's irritating. God.
Think about it. The last time that Doctor Strange wasn't the Sorcerer Supreme, it went to his alternate reality demon sidekick, Rintra.
Oh my God, that thing.
Yeah.
Holy crap, I had forgotten all about that. Oh my God, that's terrible. Alright, so we didn't like 51. The art was crap. The story was irritating. This was something a little more fun. Superman Confidential 13 and 14.
I enjoyed that.
I figured you would.
I like about the Confidential series how the retroness allows him to fight guys that aren't cosmic or evil.
Yeah, it allows good stories on a smaller scale that can be gotten over with And, maybe they'll have some consequence somewhere. They're not likely to. You can just knock out a good story. You can put it down when you're done. You say, that's a good book.
I like also how he complained about being the Toy Man as a name, because who the fuck wouldn't? No, totally enjoyed that. Jimmy Olsen got made fun of, which I definitely enjoyed.
I'm totally into making fun of Jimmy Olsen.
I recommend the Confidential. I actually prefer the Superman to the Batman. That's mostly because King Tut wasn't the villain here.
There were much better stories than King Tut in Batman Confidential.
Born in Arizona.
Moved to Babylonia.
King Tut.
More Wonder Woman, number 30. Gail Simone, Aaron Lopresti. More genocide.
So don't care about this book.
Torturing Etta Candy. No. Oh, look, it's more hi-fi. Covered by Lopresti and hi-fi. So give me a name. Somebody did a name, right? Somebody actually sat down at a computer and did this coloring, didn't they? Who the hell was it? Are they ashamed?
Yeah, it seemed colored to me.
Well.
No, I don't care about the Wonder Woman books. Perhaps because I don't particularly care about Wonder Woman as a character, but there's nothing in them that I'm dying to read so far. The genocide thing doesn't do anything for me. The highlight for me was...
It is Balloon. Nobody who hasn't listened to a Dennis Miller stand-up knows what the hell I'm talking about right now.
But no, I don't think there's any need for...
Larry Storch on F Troop.
There you go.
The high watermark being the It Is Balloon episode. I think the little byplay with Diana just getting pissed off enough to mutilate Cheetah's face was... that was pretty good. I'm glad she's not a touchy-feely wuss anymore. Unless it's, time to be a touchy-feely wuss.
The Wonder Woman character is so far removed from an actual character that it's not a lot of fun for me to read. And Steve Trevor and Etta can't... Good God. Walk the fuck away.
Naked Amazon, so you gotta dig that.
And again, that's where we differ. What else we got in there?
Not much left before we get into the big series. The Man with No Name 2 and 3. Are you digging this or what?
Here's an interesting little side project. After the 3 movies, during the 3 movies, there were novelizations made of all 3. Joe Millard, who wrote the 3rd one, also wrote several books about the Man with No Name called The Devil's Dollar Sign and
It definitely sounds like a book that was come out in the mid-'60s.
Exactly. The comic is, again, just like that. It's an unnecessary, enjoyable side project on a character that we like, but don't need to know any more about.
Yeah, because you start defining him too much, and he loses large portions of what he's all about to begin with.
But it's fun.
Yeah. And the last one, which should have been fun... I know you're a huge Bruce Campbell fan.
I am.
My Name is Bruce.
That was actually the first thing I read, and sadly, not a lot going for it. A couple of clever lines, and an otherwise contrived. The art was pointless at best. Bruce Campbell is a funny guy.
Playing himself.
And that was it.
Alright.
Do you want to do a smoke break before?
So that is absolutely nothing. Yeah, so we're going to stop for a minute. And then we're going to get into the heavy-duty shite. We'll be right back without these messages.
Stay tuned. Something out of the Terminator that makes me uncomfortable.
Well, you know why? Because they've been retconning the shit out of the Terminator series.
Well, since I don't watch that, I'll have to take your word.
No, not the TV series. The whole Terminator, everything. Every time they establish something, the next feature, the next story, it's like, well, actually it happened. Okay.
But let's assume that you're a big group of heroes in the middle of the Savage Land, which, let's face it, as reality goes, it's a big assumption. If a ship shows up, and you know that some of the people in the ship are Skrulls, wouldn't you pick the dead people that show up as your first likely targets?
You would think that, yeah.
So that was really bad. I did like how the Skrull Queen tried to convince Tony Stark that he was actually a Skrull, while he had a weird virus through his armor that affected his physical well-being.
Right. That scared the shit out of old Tone.
And I liked that Hank Pym was cooler as a Skrull than he was as Hank Pym.
That did trip me out a little bit. I was digging on that. I was like, fucking Hank Pym.
And the death of the Wasp was a huge thing.
Yeah, I never expected them to do that.
So I liked a lot of it. I liked how they built Skrulls up. I liked the use of the Skrull Queen. I liked the confusion about Jessica Drew. Dum Dum Dugan, Skrull appearance. They did steal Luke Cage's baby, which was a little odd.
Yeah.
Has that been resolved yet?
Yeah, that's all done. That happened in... You read one of those. We reviewed that because... or maybe we didn't. He made a deal with Osborn.
No, I've not read that.
Osborn found the kid, and Cage said, fine. I'll do whatever deal you want. Give me my goddamn kid.
Give me that baby! Wow, that was a cool riff. And I liked I do not read the Thunderbolts, but this did make more clear how Norman Osborn could move forward.
But to an extent, I still think it's a hell of a gear change that he just pops up, blows her away after she's been shot in the neck by Ronan. And suddenly he's the hero of the hour because he took out the Skrull Queen. Well, never mind that she was going to be dead in 3 more seconds. No how.
That's what happened with Wonder Man and the Kree Skrull War.
Was it? God, I'm holy shit! I haven't read Kree Skrull War. That's a trade we'll have to get. There's got to be a trade for that.
I would assume.
It wouldn't get.
But no, I thought Secret Invasion was well done. I thought that a lot of the people who turned out to be Skrulls were unexpected, and I thought that the surprises were overall done, and it had a huge effect on the universe in an interesting way. So
that's a big bonus. That's good to hear because I liked it a lot.
No, good.
I'm not real sure about Lionel Yu every once in a while, though. He has flashes of brilliance on any given panel, and then you flip the page, and it's like, but that doesn't look actually human. What kind of expression is that on his face?
Not everything is brilliant. Overall, I think he's a strong artist, and I enjoyed most of it.
Good. Do we really even want to talk Final Crisis?
I don't, but you're going to make me.
I am absolutely going to make you talk Final Crisis.
Final Crisis sucked. It was confusing. It was poorly done. It irritated the snot out of me. I'm not even sure they know what they were talking about.
No, Grant Morrison, you know what? I'm going to say it. I love saying it because it's such a phrase. It works so well. It just cuts right to just how bad something can be and how irritating and how violating it can feel when you experience such a thing. I was reading this. I felt like I got slapped in the eyes by Grant Morrison's balls.
Fortunately, I did not feel that way. I just feel Grant Morrison is a great writer.
Sorry, Dad, but I just find that incredibly funny.
But I do feel that Grant Morrison goes from 0 to 60 faster than any other comic book writer.
Yep.
And there's a lot between 0 and 60 that's not getting resolved.
Right.
So while huge things are happening throughout Final Crisis, none of them are explained or elaborated on. If you read Secret Invasion, the fight is an integral part in the Savage Land, and there's a lot of time given to it.
Right.
Any fight that happens in Final Crisis is like 3 pages, and they're confusing. You don't even know who's dead or alive.
Right.
John Johns gets killed. Orion's found in a dumpster. The whole thing was horrific.
And who the frig is Dan Turpin?
Dan Turpin was the head of the... He is the...
I do not remember ever reading that name anywhere before I picked up.
No, he's in a lot of Superman comics back when Stuart Immonen was the artist.
Yeah, see, that was the period I was out.
SCSU.
Was he?
Yep. He had a derby then.
Oh, that guy. That's a weird choice to be putting in such a position in such a big ass crossover.
Well, they turned Montoya into the Quest. They're taking smaller characters and making them larger, and it doesn't always work well.
No.
But the new guy sucked to begin with, so how far can you go? And where was Light Ray and his gayness and all of this?
What's a Light Ray?
You lying weasel. But they take Orion out early. They don't explain where any of the new guys are. They don't really elaborate on anything. I just felt Final Crisis was more of an event than an actual read.
It absolutely was. You have any idea how many tie-over, crossover books they had for this thing?
All of them, I would assume.
They had, that I'm absolutely certain of, without looking at a list, 6.
No.
All individual miniseries.
Oh, see, that's rough.
Yeah.
But no, and Mr. Miracle's apprentice is Mr. Miracle and all the weird Japanese heroes. Nah, just not a book for me.
No.
And DC's doing this a lot now. They keep going to these huge events that are huge events, but they're not well told. And Grant Morrison is a great writer. He really he's done
at points.
But this is very reminiscent of his JLA stuff, where he's jumping so far ahead,
so fast
that the individual panels are comic books.
There were literally points reading this series where I would read a word balloon and have no idea how it fit into the context of the rest of the page. It would be a sentence that seemed so damn random that it just... you could understand that the sentence, it had a subject, it had a predicate.
Conjunction, junction, what's your function?
It was a sentence. How it fit in with anything ever on the face of the planet, I couldn't fucking tell. I couldn't. And I'm like, why? What? Now, the concept of a bullet traveling back in time to re-enter the time stream, it's a neat concept. It's pushing the time travel envelope a little hard, because I hate time travel to begin with. But
and you, the Star Trek fan.
It is I'm not that big a Star Trek fan. I don't like the ones with time travel. It's just irritating.
No, Batman doesn't shoot people. Okay, let's just go there for a moment. He don't do it. Even when it makes sense, he don't do it.
I was almost with that one, because he knows he's dying. He knows if he doesn't take out Darkseid, that's gonna be it for the planet.
How many times have you heard Batman say, "There's always a way. There's always a this"?
That's a very good point, but I still didn't. I found it a stretch. I did. I didn't find it so much of a stretch, considering the apparent stakes involved.
I'll give you that. What I did like about Final Crisis was the portrayal of Green Arrow and Black Canary again.
All right.
We're going back to our very first conversation, but they did that very well. The tattooed man was a weird choice. Black Lightning. But, Grant Morrison's a good writer, and he built a lot of the characters up in a good way. Overall, though, sometimes it's better not to have an event than have an event just to have an event.
Right.
And, Final Night back in the day would fall exactly under that category.
Yeah. They could have not have had that. They could have not even have thought that up in that one too. They could have left both of those out in the breeze, never brought them up in the writing room, and no one would ever have known the difference.
And that's the thing. Like, an event a year is a pain in the ass. And one of the things Marvel's doing is just having 4 or 5 events in one year, less in another. But when they're House of M or Secret Invasion, there's a logic to why they're having them.
Right.
Not, we have to have a big event this year, let's have Atlantis kick everyone in the face.
You know what would be smart if these guys would go back like they did in the late 80s and make the company-wide events instead of like just the mutant events like Mutant Massacre and.
Well, Mutant Massacre is a great event, and it made sense.
Mutant Massacre was awesome. Everything flowed, everything tied together, but it mostly affected just the fucking mutants.
Which was a good thing.
Yes.
But here's my thing. Don't make it about a big event or just a mutant event. Make it a logical event one way or the other, and it doesn't matter.
Alright.
If Final Crisis was the Mutant Massacre, if it were written that way where it affected storylines and built characters and changed characters in a way that you understood and followed,
right?
And no one read all of Mutant Massacre.
I did.
Yeah, of course you did. But you got Blockbuster getting taken out and the Mighty Thor and all. There were all these weird little side things, but you could follow the key event and the key issues that you were already reading.
Absolutely.
And that's what these aren't doing anymore.
Right.
Secret War was a huge event, but you could take any individual book and follow its place in that. You might have to read Secret War, but you didn't have to read all of them.
Not Secret War. Secret Wars, plural.
No, I'm talking about
Secret Invasion.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can't, if you're sacrificing your book's read to the event, then you're failing your book.
Yes. I absolutely agree with that.
And it also doesn't say a lot for the event.
No, it doesn't. And what they used to do, actually they only did it like 3, maybe 4 years, was they put the huge crossover event in the annuals.
That was bad too, though. Like, think about, some of
the events themselves were bad. The idea was pretty good.
No, I see where you're going, because it doesn't interfere, but at the same time, an event happening in a book that's good, Mutant Massacre, you were dying to read the next book.
Absolutely right.
Atlantis Attacks, not so much.
Evolutionary War? Hell no.
Here comes the Beyonder and Secret Wars 2. There goes Bill.
Let's all go to Wundagore Mountain and beat up on the guy with a handle on his head. Get the fuck out of here with this.
Alright, we've fallen apart, people, so we're calling it an evening.
Well, he's calling it an evening. I still got to edit this, and we still haven't come up with an exiting tagline.
Buy comics.
Listen to our podcast. Just in case Andrew, Julio, and Nikki are remotely interested, we have an RSS feed now, so you can subscribe to it and have the podcast available to you at any point looking at your really simple syndication feeds. Or if you actually own a true iPod rather than just, a cheap knockoff like I do.
I have an iPod.
Or
somebody gave it to me.
Or a car stereo that's badass enough to play MP3s from CD, like myself. Thank you very much. Come again. Then you can actually go to iTunes and look for the Mean Geek, and we will be there.
We're on iTunes.
Woohoo!
I'm just like Bono.
Good night, everybody.